All right, here we go. How's everybody doing? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, listen, happy early Thanksgiving to you guys. Thank you for being on. Let me make sure I mute everybody here so I don't get any background noise. So thank all of you for being on here. I know some of y'all are traveling. Maybe you're listening later on the NCL page. Welcome to all of you. Monica, if I can get you on video, that would be great as well. So what is today's date? Can somebody tell me? Somebody come on mute and tell me today's date.
The 22nd.
22nd. So what does that mean, Alcy?
2-minute warning.
I couldn't hear you.
2-minute warning.
2-minute warning. 2-minute warning. So start your notes out with 2-minute warning. Everybody know what 2-minute warning means? You should. You should. Let me find the mute for this phone down here or whatever. I can't find it. Brandon's phone. I want to make sure I get a good mute, clear line on that. Mute right there. Okay. So anyway, 2-minute warning. So we have, how many days are in November? Somebody help me out. 30 days in November. So let's do the math. Today's the 22nd. We got 30 days tomorrow. And by the way, tomorrow is not a write-off. Tomorrow is not a complete write-off. I would assume that y'all are still going to be, posting social media, setting your Black Friday stuff up for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, planting seeds. And whoever you're spending time with, I would assume, whether you're spending time with family, with friends, that's an opportunity, obviously, to build relationships, socialize, and that sort of thing as well. Plant seeds, get people on products, talk business, whatever, and especially after they got a full tummy and they're ready to fall asleep. You guys got me? So, and I know one thing, by the way, when we talk about the products, how many of y'all are bleeding green on the products? Raise your hand. Woo! Monica, I don't know if your sound is on. Okay, good. Okay. What'd you say, Monica? Okay. Can you hear me okay? I know she's on her phone over there. Yeah, she's having phone problems. All right, so all of y'all are bleeding green on the products, right? All of y'all know the difference, how you feel on the products versus somewhat on the products. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? Has anybody ever experienced that before? Where you're kind of taking the products, or maybe you were taking them correctly, or maybe you even going all the way to the beginning, maybe you were slow getting on the products, or slow getting locked in on the products, right? Or slow to really start getting in the habit in getting that routine on the products. You guys got me? Some people are. Bob Gray was. Bob Gray came in for the business, right? So he didn't come in to get on the products, right? He didn't come in to get on the products and all that. He came in to make money. And I did follow up with him for probably the first month. And then every time I would talk to Bob about business, before we would talk about business, I would ask him how he's doing on the products. And then I would, and remember this, all of your answers are 3 to 5 questions deep. You guys remember that when you're talking to people? So sometimes you got to dig. Okay, y'all hold on just a minute. Monica, if you can get situated there pretty quickly, because you're moving around everywhere. That's not going to work. Yeah, so either block your, yeah, thank you. So before you talk business with somebody, and before you, like if you got a distributor, there's a couple things to this. Before you have a when you have a distributor, you can't really talk business and teach them how to build a business if they're not locked in on the products and feeling the difference and really developing that routine. I finally had to sick Monica on him after about a month because he wasn't responding to me so much, because I was more about the business and whatever, and then I would talk to him about the products and that sort of thing, and it just wasn't clicking there. So I sicked Monica on him to do the follow-up, and she really got on him to get on these products. You guys know the difference, what it's like when you're really on them versus somewhat on them, or when you're not in a routine on them or whatever. You can't make money, you can't build a business unless you're bleeding green on the product. So that's number one. So the first thing is make sure all of y'all are checking that box every single day, because you always got to go back and take like kind of reassess, or some people call it taking inventory. And I don't mean product inventory. You take inventory of your life. You take inventory of your business. You go back and replay the tape. What's working, what's not working. And before everything, before any conversation about the products that you're talking to clients, before you go to the gym, before you get on a conference call, before you do anything that has to do with Herbalife business, you got to be having that stuff flowing through your veins. It's just the same with putting on your body armor. We call it your body armor when you put on the lotion. I even do my hair with the herbal aloe gel. Everything, the soap, the shampoo, the skincare, everything. From top to bottom, head to toe, you guys got to be bleeding green, representing and being authentic on the products. That's the first thing that we always check off the list every single day. And again, sometimes, I know this, if you're going to have any sort of longevity inside of Herbalife, I know sometimes people get off track with that because we're just human beings, right? We're all human beings. Everybody on the call, human beings, raise your hand. You're still human beings? I know y'all don't think you are. You think you're superhuman, right? Because you're on the products. And I saw Alcy the other day with that cup in his mouth, like hold on to it with his teeth. By the way, or excuse me, Sam, I said Alcy. Sam did that. And by the way, Sam, I did a screenshot of that. So I got that saved to my phone. So that way when I'm talking to people, I can say, look at Boss Daddy out there in San Diego. You understand? So, and that ain't the only one I've taken a screenshot of you. I love your picture. So anyway, the long and the short of it is at every single moment inside of your Herbalife career, you got to be able to check that box. How are you doing on the products, right? Number one, because you will talk different, you'll walk different, you'll think different, you'll be able to work with your clients and work with your distributors differently. You'll be able to work with your sponsor and your upline leadership differently. Because if all the cells in your body are clicking and you're on the same page, right, in terms of product usage, then both of y'all are on the same playing field. You're playing the same ball game, right? But let's assume that 2 days goes by, you didn't take a shake, a tea, or a lift off, as an example, and you're trying to work with your sponsor. Your sponsor's trying to teach you how to build the business. How you gonna do that? Well, you're not gonna be receiving the information because you're gonna be just like a normal person that doesn't use the products. You guys got me? So anyway, I could go on for 45 minutes about that sort of stuff. Just want to really re-emphasize that with all of y'all at whatever juncture you're at in the business, whether you're brand new, whether you're been in for a month or 2 months, obviously that's still brand new. Whether you've been in for 6 months or a year or 2 years, you always gotta, that's the number one box that you gotta check off first, because that's a job responsibility. It's a job responsibility to use the products. You guys got me? And Mark Hughes used to say, if you got a money-making problem, you got a product-taking problem, right? So he always said it, the more products you take, the more money you make. This is the fuel that's going to get you through the good times and the not so good times, right? But sometimes, let's face it, in business, we're dealing with other human beings. Sometimes in business, we're also dealing with life, right? I remember when I think it was, well, I can't remember. I guess it was 2001, September 2001 of 9/11. And me and Monica on live TV watched those buildings come down, you know, in New York. And that's outside of our control, right? That's outside of Herbalife's control. But did it affect our business? Yes, it did, because we had a national, actually international business as well up in Canada and other countries. And the mood of the country, guess what? For the next, you know, period of months and years, by the way, but definitely that first initial reaction of the market for the first, you know, 2, 3, 4 months, it was like, you know, people are like, you know, there was just a mood out there, and that affects your business. That affected our business, right? So what do you do? So sometimes those things are out of your control. So what do you do? Well, the first thing, again, check the box. You got to use and abuse the products, because this is the fuel that fuels your fire every single day. And your fire is your desire. You guys got me? Your desire, you know, to build, your desire to change, your desire to grow, your desire to do the uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable, the desire to do the things that normal and ordinary people are not willing to do. You guys got me? Because successful people are always willing to do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. You guys understand that? And so when you got this stuff flowing through you, everything seems to make sense. You're like, oh, I'll do anything. You guys know if you take 3 scoops of Prepare and a lift off, some tea and some other, I mean, you could be doing everything. You don't care. You're just like crazy. You don't care. You throw all caution to the wind, throw all logic and reason out the window, put a smile on your face. You'll talk to anybody. You'll do anything. You'll tell jokes. You'll get crazy. You'll do business. You'll do this. You'll do that. But listen, don't take it and you're in a completely different state of mind, aren't you? I'm telling you, I wake up the next day after I went to the gym and I'm like, when I'm not on Prepare and lift off in my adrenaline and whatever, and I'm like, ooh, I wonder if I should have said that. Your mind is different, right? So you got to be on the juice, you know, if you want your business to have juice. You guys got me? So that's the real deal. So, you know, when this relates to Thanksgiving tomorrow, or this relates to Black Friday on Friday, because people are still, the marketplace in general is on vacation tomorrow and pretty much in their mind on Friday as well. But that doesn't mean you got to be on vacation. That means this is a time where you're planting seeds, planting seeds, planting seeds, planting seeds. And by the way, you don't just have to plant seeds. You can also be collecting the money too. So when I say planting seeds, it doesn't just mean planting seeds. You can also close the sale. You can also say, how would you like to pay for that, cash or credit? You guys got me? You can say that. What flavor would you like? You know, banana caramel, cookies and cream, you name it. What do you want? You know, let's get you started. Let's get a head start here. Okay? I just want to remind y'all of all that. The marketplace is going to have one mood, but it doesn't matter the mood of the marketplace for Thanksgiving for tomorrow or for Black Friday. By the way, Black Friday is a great time for you to make some sales. Meaning, I don't mean sales. I mean like some special sales for Black Friday. Do some private things with your people. Probably a lot of y'all are already doing that anyway. I've been seeing a bunch of your posts and stuff like that. So do some private sales with your people. Black Friday, you know, do 20% off of if they get a minimum purchase of whatever, you know, whatever. Do some free give away a free whatever, a free cellulose. You can do anything that you want to do. You just can't advertise it publicly, but you can send people private messages and do all sorts of things for your Black Friday sales. And you can be really getting the volume points up there. Does this stuff make sense? Everybody nod your head? Of course it makes sense, right? I always make sense. Ain't that right, Sam? Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just joking with you, but you know, I'm just trying to get a reaction to be honest with you. Okay. So 8 days left in the month. Tomorrow is, you know, you can still do things. You can still do things. I don't know how much you're going to actually make money tomorrow, but that doesn't mean that you can't be still putting things in action, posting social media, friends and family that you might be spending the holidays with, getting them to try the tea instead of something else, instead of coffee, right? Hey, try this. Try a lift off in your tea. Try a lit tea. Try whatever. You know, the main thing is always getting products in people's body. The sample that I gave to this dude today, first of all, remember that dude that I told you about the cookies and cream last week? Well, I brought him, I didn't bring him 3, changed my mind. I brought him 2. 2 cups, cookies and cream with the PDM already in there. He had that. He loved it. He was so impressed. He said it didn't bother his stomach like other shakes do. And then so we've been talking this week in the gym, and he's taking Hydroxycut. I go, oh, you got to get off that nasty stuff. I says, you got to get some Herbalife in your body, okay? You got to get the real stuff in your body, is what I told him that tonight, too. So anyway, he's got sleep problems. So I brought him 6 Sleep Now tablets in a little plastic cup with a lid on it. So he's going to start that tonight. Brought him 2 Total Control packs. I brought him 2 teaspoons of tea, okay? 2 full teaspoons of tea. And I brought him a pomegranate and an orange liftoff. So I told him how to use all that stuff. Do you think that he's going to feel the difference tomorrow? I told him to take 2 or 3 teas, take 1 Total Control 3 times a day, take 2 Sleep Now tonight. You know what I'm saying? Take a liftoff on its own or mix it with the tea, whichever you prefer. You think he's going to feel the difference tomorrow? You better believe it. So last night, I was sending him over the cookies and cream and the price and all that with the PDM, the cookies and cream. So he wants to go ahead and try all this stuff because he wants to order it all at the same time next week, okay, when he gets paid. So the moral to that story is I'm not going to wait till next week for me to try to convince him on the tea or the liftoff or anything else. And you guys know this, I'm preaching to the choir. It's about getting it in their body. I'm investing a little bit. You know, how much did it cost me? I don't know, $7 or $8. Who cares? So I'm giving that to him. And by the way, he appreciates it. He already told me, he already thanked me up and down for giving him the shakes. Like, I really, really, really appreciate it. So he's a real appreciative person. So people that are appreciative like that, you want to give to them. And you want to invest in people like that. So the long and the short of all that is make sure that you're always at some point in your conversation zipping all the talk and then giving the samples, getting them, whether it's a 3-day trial pack or whether it's a customized sample thing that you want to give them, going to get them feeling the difference and so they gain the confidence so they can then put in an order or become a preferred member or whatever. Does all this stuff make sense? Okay. So 2-minute warning, 8 days to go. Who's going to close the month like a boss? Raise your hand. Who's going to close the month like a boss? Listen. It's time. Oh, there's Morgan over there. It's time. Okay. What is this? Somebody come unmute it and tell me what this is. What is this?
Blinders.
Tunnel vision.
Those are blinders.
Let's go.
Thank you. Those are blind. I love hearing y'all, by the way. I hate sitting here talking and everybody being muted, by the way. Most people got to be muted because of the background noise. But I definitely like the interaction. I'm going to zip it here in a minute as well because I want to hear from all of y'all and get some interaction. But this is how you got to be, guys. This is how you got to be, number one, when you're closing out the month. And this is how you got to be when you're closing out the year. Okay? When you're laying the foundation to set up your new year. And we've talked a lot about that in the last 2 or 3 calls, about laying the foundation. Last quarter of the year momentum sets up the first quarter of the new year's momentum. The first quarter of the new year sets up the entire year. And the way that you have the best year ever is by getting into action now, working on purpose, working with purpose, You understand? Now, but you got to have blinders on because there's going to be distractions that want to get you off track. Okay, subtly. And like Jim Rohn says, it's subtle how distractions can nudge you off course. They can nudge you off course. They can nudge you off course. Like if it's like if you get in a rocket and you're going to launch and go to the moon. Okay, one destination, Earth to moon in a rocket. Who would like to do that, by the way? Anybody like to do that if you knew it was safe? Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. If you knew you were going to come back and all that good stuff, you'd want to do it. It'd be great. Okay, so we're going to go from the Earth to the moon. Now, check this out. You dial in all the coordinates. What if you're 1 degree off? Just 1 degree from landing on the moon. Where do you think you're going to wind up? I'm going to tell you where you're going to wind up. You're going to wind up in the ocean because it's going to be like, it's subtle. It's not like this and this, but it's going to be like this, and then you're going to come all the way, and you're going to eventually land back in the ocean, right? So sometimes life and distractions will nudge you off course. Subtle. It's subtle. And I've said it many times, the difference between success and failure is subtle. It's subtle. So that's why y'all got to really train your brain, and you got to train your body to be in a routine, because you can't afford not to be in a routine, and you can't afford not to develop the discipline and the work ethic that goes along with building a business. That's just the real talk. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't get an IBP for $94 and go to one meeting, and then 2 years from now, you never did much of anything else and expect to be making 6 figures. Has it ever worked that way? Everybody shake their head. No, it doesn't work that way, does it? I mean, every single leadership weekend that you go to, that you've been to so far, because most of y'all have been there. If you haven't, you will. Or STS. I mean, what's one of the common themes? What's one of the common themes at these places? I'm gonna tell you the common theme. What I showed y'all last week. It's that. It's that. Right? So that's not a secret, is it? That's not a secret. So you got to do the work. You got to pay the price. You got to put in the hours. You got to be disciplined, right? And by the way, it's no different than anything else. Developing a habit, sometimes it takes about, 3-4 weeks to develop your habit. It's been said it takes 21 days to develop a new habit or to break an old one. And by the way, how you get rid of a bad habit is you replace it with a good habit. That's how you get rid of bad habits. So if you don't have discipline, and if you don't have a work ethic, try being disciplined, and try having a work ethic, and try being on a routine for 21 days. Because then you can break that cycle. If it runs in your family that you're lazy, and this is hypothetical, I'm not talking about y'all, right? I'm talking general. But if it runs in your family that you're lazy and undisciplined and not successful, let's say nobody in your family is successful, well, guess what? You can break that cycle. You can break that cycle, right? And you can be the one that's successful. You can be the one that they're celebrating. You can be the one that they're cooking the special dinners for and giving the awards to. You could be the one that they admire. You could be the one that they are in awe of. Just like, wow, how did she do it? How did he do it? You could be the one that they respect so much because you built it from nothing into something so great. You guys understand that stuff? I mean, the people that are self-made, that weren't handed millions or a lot of money, the people that against all odds overcame and that made it, and persevered, and put in the hours, put in the overtime and the undertime, got up early, stayed up late, made the sacrifices, right? And sometimes you think it's overnight success, but you don't see all the underlying things. I'm talking about any business. I'm not even talking about just Herbalife, okay? So this is with any business. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the discipline. You got to put in the passion, okay? You got to be willing to overcome obstacles, right? Do you guys think that you're going to have obstacles in building your business? You've already got obstacles building your business. You've got a built-in obstacle, and I'm going to tell you what it's called. It starts with an L. Anybody want to know what it is? I just gave you a big clue. You've already got a built-in obstacle that you're going to have to overcome, and it starts with an L. Can anybody guess what that is? Get your dictionary. Go down the list. Love. Is that it? No. Since y'all can't guess, I'm going to tell you what your built-in obstacle is. It's called life. It's called life. That's your built-in obstacle that you're going to have to overcome. Because things happen in life that are unexpected, right? And you got to be ready. You got to be mentally ready. You got to be physically ready. You got to be physically in your heart ready, in your stomach. Not like blindsided by it. That's why it's so important, the personal development, your mindset, right? Your mindset. Change your mindset, change your life, right? So if you change your mindset, if you reprogram the way that you think, if you reprogram the way that you react to things, if you reprogram or rewire your personal philosophy about things, how you think and feel about things, how you think and feel about yourself, how you think and feel about others, how you think and feel about your business, how you think and feel about the products, how you think and feel about making money, how you think and feel about helping people make money, how you think and feel about helping people build a business, how you think and feel about solving problems, yours or somebody else's. What is your personal philosophy about all that stuff? Well, guess what? I'm not here to convince you, but I am here to share with you that it might be a good idea, right? That your personal philosophy on a lot of these things is on point, because things will happen. And if you're not mentally in shape, you got to get your mind in shape the same way that we have our body in shape. You got to be wise. You got to be smart. You got to have wisdom. You know, that way when a little wind blows, you're not like all caught off guard and call your mommy or your daddy crying about it and being part of the problem. See, a lot of people that don't have personal development, a little flicker of a flame happens in their life, a little drama happens in their family, a little drama happens in business, a little drama happens with another person, whatever. And that's a little flicker of a flame, a little spark. And the tendency for a lot of people that don't have the right philosophy or they haven't worked on themselves personally in terms of personal development, personal philosophy, the way they think and feel about things, they'll end up adding to the problem and getting sucked into the problem and even making the problem bigger. So essentially what they'll end up doing is you got a little spark and a flicker of a flame and they pour a gallon of gasoline on it and make it blow out of proportion. You guys got me? Instead of saying, and I learned this from Jim Rohn, by the way, you know, you got a little flicker of a problem, you got a little drama situation happening with somebody, and maybe to that person it's a big deal, and maybe they're like really bringing the drama, and they're trying to convince you of it. They're trying to pull you in. You ever met anybody like that? And they're not even doing it on purpose. That's just who they are, because they haven't listened to any Jim Rohn lately. Maybe it's not part of their life routine to work on personal development. And some people are always drama. That's why they call them drama queens, right? So So if they try to pull you in, here's the common response. Jim Rohn always says, and you can say it out loud or you can say it in your own head, but Jim Rohn would say, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? I don't care what happens. That's and you can, and again, it could be something that you don't have to say it out loud, but you can say it in your own head. Isn't that interesting? You know, and take a pause before you get sucked in to stuff like that. So the first thing is that's like when you're dealing with personalities or dealing with situations, circumstances, whatever. When you're dealing with other human beings, sometimes you'll get they will, not on purpose, not out of malice, but just because they're used to it, they'll try to pull you into their drama to get you on their side or whatever. It's just like a human nature type of thing. You guys got to have your armor on with your personal philosophy and your personal development so you don't get sucked into that nonsense. Because I'm going to tell you what that stuff is. That stuff it will suck you dry. It will drain your energy. It will drain your spirit. It will. I mean, if you ever hung around somebody that, and I know a lot of y'all have, because all of y'all are old enough to have experienced it. You've experienced it before. You'll experience it again when some situations happen. People try to suck you into it. Okay. So the bottom line is just be aware. That way you don't get sucked into stuff like that, and you don't end up getting your time and energy and the life sucked out of you. You guys got me? Because, hey, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. That right there is subtle. That right there is subtle. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm from the South, right? I've always been a really nice person and a big heart, and I want to help people. And so in the beginning, and when I say the beginning, I mean like the first 10 years, just for perspective. It wasn't the first 10 days or first 10 months, like the first 10 years, maybe even the first 15 years, maybe the first 20 years even. Like people would tell me like their drama or this happened and that happened. And like I'm feeling sorry for them because I'm a person that has a lot of empathy for other people. I feel people. I feel their pain. I feel their suffering. I feel what they're going through. So my automatic tendency is always to help, be there and to definitely listen to them, you know, and all that stuff. But all I'm saying is, yes, do that, but also be cautious and be conscious of the fact that if it keeps happening and keeps happening and keeps happening with the same person, they will, and again, not on purpose, but they will suck the life out of you. Okay? You know, I mean, I'm turned into a pretty good Dr. Phil. I can listen and listen and listen, and I can give, and I can pretty much diagnose the situation. Because, hey, and John Tartle said this after about 10 or 20 years in Herbalife, you should pretty much have your PhD in psychology, dealing with other human beings. So I'm just going to put this out there. When you're dealing with other human beings and circumstances and situations, and sometimes it could be some drama, sometimes it could be some problem solving, you got to be in check. That's why it's so important. You got your personal development, your personal philosophy. You stand on some certain principles. That way you don't get all thrown off over here, because everything affects everything. Everything affects everything. You got to protect your sanity. You got to protect your business. You got to protect your soul and your spirit. Because listen, if you got 10 people that are doing it to you, then you can really get it drained out of you, right? Now, again, I'm not saying don't listen to people, don't help it. I'm saying help people. I'm saying listen to people. The best communicators in the world are the best listeners. So yes, listen. Yes, listen. But also offer real solutions, and don't get sucked into drama. Don't get sucked into problems, and definitely don't be throwing gallons of gasoline on a little flicker of a thing. I remember Bob used to call me up in the beginning. Maybe the beginning was the first 6 months, the first year, something like that. And he would call me up from time to time with a problem. And what has Mark Hughes taught us about problems? Anytime there's a problem, what's the first thing that you think or say? Somebody.
No problem.
That's the first thing you think, and that's the first thing that you say. I'm going to tell y'all, that's huge. That's a good starting point. Anytime you got a problem, anytime a problem, somebody brings you a problem, the first thing you either say out loud or say to yourself is no problem. And say it the way Mark Hughes would say it. Like, get it in your brain, like almost like it's Mark Hughes' voice saying it. It's just a little game you can play. You know what I mean? No problem. No problem. This really isn't. It isn't. I remember when Bob would bring me, because I'm telling you, if you got a lot of people that you're working with, you will have problems. You'll have an order problem. Oh, this person's order got the wrong month. Is that a problem? Well, I'm looking at Brandon over there.
I'm like, yes, but no.
Let's be honest. Can I be honest? I'm going to tell you a secret. Just don't tell anybody. Okay. Especially if you're in a cut of Get Team, Millionaire Team, Prez Team, World Team, whatever.
Oh, man.
And it was a computer problem, and it got, on the wrong month. It was supposed to be on this month, but it got posted to the other month, and it affected somebody's qualification. Maybe it was their third cut of Get Team, third cut of Millionaire Team. Is that a problem? Actually, it is. It's a problem. Okay? Are you going to pour gasoline on the problem? No, because you worked on, you're a problem solver. You're a problem solver. Do you guys know the people that are solving the most problems in the world are the ones that are getting paid the most money? And the ones that people are buying the most dinners for. Hey, come on, I'll treat you to dinner. Problem solver, come over here. I want to be around you. I like the way you roll. I like the way you think. You solve problems. You got it going on, baby. I love your attitude. I love your attitude. Nothing's a problem for you. Okay? That's what you wear on the outside. Now, sometimes you can go home and shut the closet door, and you go, ooh, that's a big problem, right? But to other people, you're Superman, you're Superwoman, you're the problem solver. You guys got to train yourself like that. You got to train yourself like that. And if you're listening to enough Jim Rohn, oh, look at that Superman shirt. Oh, look at that. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. If you're listening to enough Jim Rohn, if you've listened to the Challenge to Succeed enough, or any of the other Jim Rohn stuff,
yes, get it.
But I'm a personal favorite for the Challenge to Succeed, Jim Rohn. Or if you've listened to Mark Hughes enough, trust me, you will change. Your mindset will change. You will be different, and the way that things affect you will be different. And the person that you were 6 months ago, a year ago, 6 years ago, you will not be that same person again. I'm telling you, the things that used to bother me don't bother me anymore. And by the way, in the first few years of my business, when people had problems, I didn't want to answer the phone. And I'm talking, even with a customer, I got diarrhea. I don't even want to talk to that person. I'm scared. I don't want them to yell at me, and I don't want problems. I don't want conflict with my customers. I don't want conflict with my distributors. I don't want my distributor to call me up and tell me that so-and-so said no. So-and-so said it's a pyramid. So-and-so said it's a scam. So-and-so said it's Scientology. I don't want to hear that, right? That's how I used to be. So I wouldn't even answer the phone. So I was unreachable. So basically, I'm running scared. I don't even want to answer my distributor's telephone call. This was before we had text. I'm just reminding you of what it used to be like. We didn't have cell phones and text, so you had to actually answer the phone. They couldn't text you and say, hey, I just called you. You know what I'm saying? They could fax you and say, hey, I just called you, right? But I didn't even want to read the fax because I was afraid it was a problem. That's how I used to be. But I'm telling you, after seeing and hearing and studying Jim Rohn and other things too, your philosophy changes. So I'm going to go back to Bob Gray and use him as an example, okay? Because by that time, when I had signed him up, I was already on the Millionaire Team. And I'd seen Mark Hughes and Jim Rohn in pretty much every country in the world, pretty much. Not really, but felt like that. A bunch of countries, okay? And my philosophy had completely changed. I'd listened to the Challenge to Succeed at least 50 times. And that was on cassette tape, by the way. There was no whatever they have today with the digital stuff. Yeah, I can't remember what you call it, but it was cassette tape back then. Okay. And I'm going to tell you one thing, how my philosophy changed so much where I actually said this out loud. He called me one time with a problem, and I don't remember what the particular problem was, but it was a problem for him, but for me, because I had grown so much with the way that my thinking was, it wasn't even an issue for me. But at the same time, I understood it was an issue for him. See, you guys see the difference? It can still be a real problem and a real issue for them, but it doesn't have to ruin your day and ruin your world and jack you up. And so, and I remember these words specifically when he called me about this particular problem. I said, Bob, I just want to let you know, I'm glad that you called me, because this is absolutely no problem. And and over the phone, I could almost feel him going, huh? Like, what? What do you mean it's no problem? Because like he's like, we got a problem. Houston, we got a problem. But I'm like, so see, it's what does Jim Rohn say? It's not the problem that's the problem. It's the reaction to the problem that's the problem. You guys got that? When you guys and when people in general can really get that, like get it, where you're not faking it, then you're like,
Yes.
give me that phone. Give me that phone. And I told him, you can ask him. I told him, I'm glad you called me, because this is not a problem at all. I'm glad you called me. So y'all have to have the attitude that when there is problems out there in life, when there's problems with business, when there's problems with people, when there's personality problems, when there's legitimate problems like an order got, and it messed up somebody's qualification, even though it really is a problem, or you could replace that word with, we have a situation on our hands. So I would actually replace that word. I started in my mind, and I would tell them, we just have a situation. It's just a circumstance, that's all. No big deal. Okay. But again, having the empathy, knowing that it is a problem for them. Like they're in crisis mode inside of their heart, right? But you got to have the attitude like, hey, I'm glad you called me. This is no problem at all. As a matter of fact, about 6 years ago, I had a situation very similar to this, and let me share with you how we handled it. You see how with experience you can do that. So it's actually, when you're going through problems yourself, that's actually just to help you get to the next level. There's a way to look at things. Because listen, you can't have a breakthrough unless you have a breakdown. On the other side of a breakdown is a breakthrough waiting to happen. So if you got a breakdown or if you got a problem, great, solve it, because then you'll be elevated to the next level. You'll level up in your greatness. You'll level up in the marketing plan. You'll level up in your worth that you bring to the marketplace. Listen, if I didn't have a bunch of situations and circumstances, which I used to call problems, and then Bob called me, I wouldn't have anything in my tool belt to rely on to give him an analogy to help him understand that this is really no big deal. And then also, you're in good hands. Jim Rohn used to say that. You're in good hands. Don't worry about it, brother. I got you. We're going to solve this together. I got you. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. But at the same time, having empathy with him and saying, I know it's a big deal for you right now, but trust me, this is really not a big deal. Been there, done that. Let me tell you what happened to me 6 years ago. Here's how we solved it. Boom, let me just make a phone call to the company and I'll handle it. Or we'll handle it, or whatever. You guys got me? The moral to that story is whenever you're confronted with a problem, whether it's your own problem, somebody else's problem, a problem that's out of your control, okay? First thing is no problem. In your head, say it out loud, say it in your head, say it out loud, say it in your head. Somebody brings you a problem, thank them for bringing you the problem. Because guess what? I'm a problem solver. Thank you for bringing me that problem. I'm a problem solver. And to me, that's really no problem. I understand it's a problem to you, but I'm telling you, we're going to solve that problem, and it's going to be the most unbelievable thing. Yeah, Alcy, talk to me, baby. You raising your hand?
There you go. Y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Look, I just wanted to So listen, I just wanted to piggyback off of you when you was talking about the energy drainers. I want everybody to write down to Google an article that's called It's an article that's called the Energy Vampires. So once you Google that article, it'll pop up, and there's 7 energy vampires that surround you every day. And if you're not aware of them, then they'll suck your energy. So I want to piggyback off of you with that. And also I want to say one more thing is that what you're talking about when somebody comes to you with a problem, that's definitely true. Because this business, I've been figuring out, this Herbalife business is a business of behaviors. You really can't teach a person how to get clients. You can't teach a person how to get a distributor. You can't teach a person how to handle an issue, but you can show them behaviors when they bring you a problem, or when you're getting distributors and when you're getting clients. Okay, this is what I've done. This behavior I've practiced over and over and over has come out to help me do this, and that. So it's really about when they bring you the problem, is exactly what you said, is how you react to the problem. What's your behavior, your demeanor? Is did your chest drop? Did your face drop? Did your hand, oh my God? What did you do? Because whatever you do, they're going to duplicate exactly what you did. So this business is behavior. So always watch your behaviors, because they're always watching your behaviors as well. It's your boy LC Crocker. You know?
Yeah. Yes. Stay unmuted. Stay unmuted. Let's talk. Let's everybody talk. I don't know why I went down that road, but I just, whatever we were talking about earlier, I know why I went down that road about personal philosophy. Right? Philosophy, because it's the way you think and feel about things. You know what I mean? So, and the thing is, y'all know there's 2 ways to learn. I don't know if most of y'all know this. Excuse me, I've just got all that shake in me. There's 2 ways that we learn. Do y'all know what those are? It's PE and OPE. What does that mean? PE, PE.
Personal experiences and other people's experiences.
Morgan, woo! Boom! Look at you. So tell us about that then, since you're so smart.
Well, basically, personal experiences is things that you physically went through and things that you physically had to experience and come out of. That way you can tell them, this has happened to me and this is how I was able to handle this. Other people's experiences is basically stories that you've heard or things that you have witnessed that have worked for them or didn't work for them. You're able to take their experiences and say whether you're going to do it or whether you're not going to do it.
I don't know why I've been talking for the last 40 minutes. I should just let you do it. That's it. That's it right there. Now check this out. Y'all stay unmuted for a minute. Check this out. So those are the 2 ways that we learn from personal experience and from and by the way, the personal experience, some people call it the school of hard knocks. Anybody ever been to the school of hard knocks before? I have. Okay. And guess what? Here's the great thing about Herbalife and our business model is because you can close that gap. You don't have to go down this long, winding road of bumping and bruising your knees and falling down and having to pick your own self up and whatever, right? Because personal experience, the school of hard knocks could take a long time, and it can actually, you could perish in the process, if you don't know any better. You could actually make some wrong decisions that could that could be the end for you, in terms of your business, or whatever. So learning from other people's experience, it'll save you time, it'll save you money, it'll save you frustration, it'll save you years and years and years. You know what I mean? So you can learn, it might have taken one person 10 years to figure something out. If you learn from them what not to do or what to do, or you learn a little technique or a little method there, or maybe everything that changed everything for them was reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, or reading Think and Grow Rich, or listening to a Jim Rohn or whatever. If they tell you that, and you've been in the business for 3 months, and that person says, study this book, and then study the Challenge to Succeed, and let's say you actually do that for 3 months, now you got 6 months in the business, and you could end up being a master at it, and it doesn't take you 10 years because you've learned.
Let's go.
Experience. You guys got that?
Yes. Yes. Whoa, man.
It's so important. It's so important. You know, and so that's why, listen, is everybody listening? Everybody listening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here. And I know I'm preaching to the choir with you guys, but that's why it's just so important for everybody to be teachable, to be coachable, and to be open for coaching and learning. Because a lot of people aren't. And a lot of people don't even know that they aren't, but they just aren't. And it has to do with, I mean, you could dig back in with this whole psychology thing, but it goes back to their childhood when their parents used to say, do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that, you know, whatever. And then you start saying, do this, don't do that. And it just pushes those buttons from their childhood. That's how human beings are. You understand? So sometimes it ain't even about you. You just pushed a button inside of them, you know, and they automatically shut down and they're not open to being coached. And you guys, y'all probably all been around long enough where you've experienced that before, and you can tell with your interaction with this person that they're not coachable.
Yeah.
They're not teachable.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like willing to accept the whatever you're trying to give them, to put into them. So since we know that people, first of all, are people like that. Let's acknowledge that people are like that. I've taken courses outside of Herbalife, you know, to learn stuff about human beings like this. I'm telling you, there's 50, 60, 70-year-old people running around still blaming their parents for what happened when they were 7 years old. You guys understand?
It's sad.
And it affected them, you know what I'm talking about, Brandon. It affected them their whole life. Okay? Because of whether it was verbal abuse or whether it was, you know, just being, I mean, I had parents that were very strict, or at least at the time I thought they were strict, because I was like wild. I was like uncontrollable. I was 8 years old. I thought I was 20 already. I wanted to be free, man. I was mature. I felt like I was very mature for my age. I grew up in a different time. We'd stay out all night and whatever. It was a different time back then. You know what I'm saying? I'd ride my bike to school, and the school was like 6 miles away. I'd ride it down a busy highway, and I'm 8 years old. You know? I mean, crazy. When I was 7 years old, we would walk through the woods. We would walk like literally like 1.5 miles, 2 miles to school, walk through the woods, walk through neighborhoods, walk. 7 years old. Nobody was taking me to school. So we grew up in a different time, right? So, but my parents grew up in a different time too. So they were real strict and real conservative and stuff like that. And I was more like whatever. And plus I had 2 brothers. So we were like, but I felt like my dad was always saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And looking back on it, you know, if I had a child like I was, I'd be saying, hey, don't do that, put that, you know, because little boys are wild people. They're wild creatures, right? So with that said, a lot of people got stuff from their childhood when their parents said, do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that. You know, no, you can't have that, can't this, can't that, whatever. So sometimes when we start coaching new people, we have to understand that they bring a certain history to the table with them. And a lot of people, I'm going to tell you all this, a lot of people aren't even aware of it. They're not aware that they got all these little button pushers, right? Yeah. And so if you're coaching a new person, and by the way, what's a new person? I don't mean a new person that signed up 2 days ago. That doesn't mean that's a new. Yes, that's a new person, but a new person could be somebody that's been in the business 6 months. Could be somebody that's been in for a year, correct?
Yep.
So already knowing that some people got little button pushers, right? Then we have to, and you'll find out the different people like that, because it's like fishing. Like I used to teach this all the time, like fishing. Anybody like fishing? Like to go fishing? I love fishing. I grew up fishing. Okay. Do you fish for catfish with a lure? Anybody that knows anything about fishing? Of course not. It's ridiculous. You don't fish for no catfish with lure. You fish catfish are on the bottom of the lake, the bottom of the river, and you fish for catfish stink bait. Do you fish for bass with stink bait? No. Bass are more on the top and in the middle and stuff like that. You fish for them with a lure or with a worm or with and I mean like a lure worm or whatever, right? So the point is with people, it's different bait for different fish. Meaning you got different personalities in your coaching, the way that you interact with them, there's some people you can't come on as strong with as you can with others. Like there's some people, they only respond to being hammered a little bit. They like to be hammered because maybe they were a football player and maybe that's what they respond to because their coach used to hammer them, with that type of let's go, type of stuff. So maybe they respond to that. I'm more of that type person. I want to be inspired, yell at me, say something, I'm not a little soft, come on, give it to me. Give me the truth, But there's other people that you got to kind of approach it a little bit different. So anyway, these are just some things to just be aware of. But sometimes if people aren't responding to you, meaning your customers and your distributors or your potential customers or your potential distributors, then the first place that we need to look is identify or do our best, identify what type of fish that they are, and then try to figure out what sort of bait we can use. I'm using that metaphorically. We have to, meaning what's our approach? Our approach is our bait, or what's going to get them nibbling coming our way, where we can have a good relationship, good interaction. How am I going to get a person, doing what, or here's the real key. What you want to always concentrate on is getting a person wanting to do what you want them to do. It's not about getting people doing what you want them to do. Y'all be clear on that. The key is figuring out how to get people wanting to do what you want them to do. So sometimes you got to go all the way around and make it like it was their idea. Right? Sometimes you got to approach your conversations. Hey, I was thinking I wanted to check this out. Hey, I was thinking the other day, and this might be a person that you're treating with kid gloves a little bit to try to figure their personality. You can kind of approach you like, hey, I was thinking the other day about this, and I wanted to run this by you. And so you run it by them, what you really want them to do. And then you say, what do you think about that? I was thinking about this the other day, and I wanted to run this by you. And then you tell them what it was that you're trying to get them to do. What do you think about that? Talk to me about that. What do you think about that? If we did this, and if we knew that this was going to happen, if we did this, meaning you, but if we did this and we knew this was going to happen, then would you be up for that? Would that be something that they got you excited? And then they start going, oh my God, it would be unbelievable. And you're like, oh my God, I got them. Now you're getting them right? Now they're on your side. Instead of them, you're going, hey, I need you to do this, or you need to do this, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. And guess what? Boom, you're just pushing the buttons from when they were 7, 8 years old. And so sometimes when people run from you, it ain't you they're running from. It's buttons that you might be pushing from their childhood or from a previous relationship or whatever. You guys got me?
Yep.
I had this girl one time in our organization. Monica remembers who this was, but she actually told me at a party, her sponsor told me that this woman didn't like me. And she was a supervisor in my organization. She was like second line or something like that. And the person who sponsored her said, no, she don't like you. And I go, what did I do? She goes, I don't know, but she says that you remind her of her ex-husband.
Oh, dang.
Oh, Morgan goes, oh. And then, but check this out. She says, and her ex-husband was super, super driven and super, super, passionate about his job. Yeah. Right? And we wouldn't be on video, but we'd be on conference calls talking with the same tone that we got tonight. I hadn't hurt anybody's feelings tonight, have I? No. I'm on my best behavior, always. Try to be. I'm always conscious, but sometimes no matter what you do, people don't like you for some reason. I pushed a button. I reminded her of her ex-husband who was driven and very passionate about his job. Right? You guys got it? So anyway, sometimes even when you do your best, you're still going to push people's buttons the wrong way. So what is that noise?
Alcy.
Sound like somebody, Alcy, you're not
Alcy's
getting
got a party going on over there.
Herbalife party.
Exactly. It sounds like the cops just pulled you over. Maybe they're going to confiscate your Formula One.
Oh, let's go.
They gonna come back 20 pounds later.
Exactly. We'll have to take this. We'll have to go test it. See what's in here. So anyway, let's interact and then we'll get off the phone. I wanted to keep tonight short. We're right at an hour right now. So let me hear from some of y'all, then we'll get y'all on your way so y'all can go enjoy your holiday tomorrow. Talk to me, everybody.
Okay, I'll go ahead real quick.
Yeah.
Before you, Alice, I'll let you close it out, man. He's so funny, man.
Oh, it's on you, baby. It's on you.
And Morgan, thank you so much. Thank you for speaking out. I always like hearing you too. You guys, man, we come from Herbalife. When you're sitting across a state and you can hear the same verbiage, you're just like, yes, I love it. Oh my gosh. But I just wanted to tag on to what Glenn, thank you so much. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for giving us the goods tonight. Anybody that wasn't on this, you got to listen to this, man. Oh my gosh. But I don't want to offend anybody that is in internet land. But I mean, this is why we stay plugged in. We stay engaged. You just never know when it's going to be your day. You never know when you're going to hear something at an STS where you're hearing these stories that are going to tell you the answers to get to the promised land, to get to the end, to get to your goal, to get what you want from out of life. And we're always experiencing different things at different times. So we need to be absorbent and open for the opportunity and to enroll ourselves in all these different possibilities. And if you're always coachable and always teachable and always willing to learn more, you will grow beyond measure. You will grow beyond everything that you could ever imagine. And I promise you, the 4 years I've been in business, by all means, it's taken the time it needs to. And I'm just like, I feel so fired up right now just from this call. I feel so energized because of the new blood in the first lines and just everything happening.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what time it takes. It's going to take the time it takes to get you in the right flow and the right energy, because we need to hear all different things at different times. So, man, I'm just jacked up. I'm ready for the end of the year. I'm ready for everything to happen. So that's it. Oh, man.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
man.
Thank you.
You put it on.
Woo! Let's go.
And boy, you can feel the passion. You can feel the authenticity from what he's talking about.
Heck yeah.
This thing is all about.
Heck yeah.
Hey, y'all just keep this in mind. They didn't build Rome in a day. You know what I'm saying? They didn't build Rome in a day. And things that are worthwhile in life, it's going to take whatever time it's going to take. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, your story is your story. Style Bell's story is Style Bell's story. Garen Jones is Garen Jones' story. Your story is your story. Own it. Okay? Identify the things that you need to get better at. Understand that you're not going to master everything in the next 24 hours. So, big thing Mark Hughes used to teach us, have some patience. Have some patience. I don't know if y'all have ever seen the video, like I was at the live trainings, but on one of his videos, he talks about, would it be so bad if it took you 5 years to get to the president's team.
Nope.
No.
Then he said, would it be so bad if it took you 10 years to get to the president's team?
Nope.
And he actually broke it down. He says maybe the first year you made like $7,000 or $8,000, and then the second year you made like $15,000. Maybe the numbers are off. I'm sure, but this is the analogy. Maybe the third year you got it up to $24,000. So you're making $2,000 a month by the third year. Maybe the fourth year you got it up to $30,000 a year, which is about $2,500 a month, something like that. Maybe the fifth year you got it up to $40,000 a year. So how much is that per month? About $3,300 a month. By the fifth year.
That's
by the
good.
sixth year, you got it up to, maybe it stayed flat and you're still at $40,000 a year. But by the seventh year, boom, something happened and it shot to $60,000 a year. Seventh year, that's $5,000 a month. Eighth year, boom, really momentum kicked in and whatever, and you finally started listening to some Jim Rohn a little bit more and studying Mark Hughes, and you finally read How to Win Friends and Influence People, Think and Grow Rich, and all of a sudden it went from 60,000 straight to 100,000 in your eighth year. You guys hear what I just said? I need a reaction, Alcy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your eighth year, it goes from 60,000 in your seventh year to 100,000 in your eighth year. And then your ninth year, because you got so much momentum, because this is a momentum business, right? You got so much momentum and you just signed up a couple of new superstars that you met at the gym and they were so inspired from your story and your pictures of yourself and your other people and the samples that they gave you, and they went to the yes, and then they went to the extravaganza in Houston, and then this happened and then that happened, and they became one of your top superstars in your business. In your ninth year, you got it up to 170,000. That's like 12, 13, 14,000 a month, and then that set the pace for the momentum for the next extravaganza, your 10th year, and you're walking across the stage and you got pinned with your president's team pen. Your 10th year, and you're making $250,000 a year.
Let's go.
And you got all these people thanking you, and all these people respecting you, and all these people like, how did you do it? How did you do it? You just blew up overnight. And you're like, no, baby doll, come here. It's been 10 years. Let me tell you about that. I made $7,000 or $6,000 and I almost quit because my wife or because my husband or because my brother or because my next door neighbor said this and because so-and-so said this and I almost quit.
Yeah.
Right? And until I really got locked in on the products. I got on this conference call and then I really learned I need to check that box every single day before I do anything.
Yeah.
Because I learned that how I do one thing is how I do everything. And if I'm going to be skipping shakes, if I'm going to be skipping teas, and I'm going to be skipping the product, then guess what? The check's going to be skipping my house and going to the next person.
Yeah.
I ain't going to get the check if I don't check off that first box. I ain't going to get the check in the mail is what I'm trying to say. And when I learned that, then that kept me going to the second year. And then I went to the third year. And then I went to that training. And I learned this. And then I did that. And then I did this. And now it's just been 10 years. But I'm telling you, honestly, it only feels like 2 years because it went by so fast. It's been so fun. And now I'm a president's team member. And the question is, would that be so bad?
No.
No.
Would it be so bad if it took you 10 years?
Nope.
It'll be perfect.
It'll be
Not
perfect.
everybody's going to get the president's team in 2 years, folks. Not everybody's going to get there in 3 years. Not everybody's going to get there in 4 years. A lot of people will get there in 2 and 3 years. Okay? But that's their story. Hey, guess what? Tonight could be the night where you're like, I'm going to get there in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
You guys understand?
Yeah.
You can make a decision tonight. I'm going to get there in the next 2 years. And let's say you screw it all up and it takes you 3.
Oh man.
That's not
36 months. 36 months. Do you guys know that that's only 12 90-day plans? It's only 12.
Yeah.
But you will never be able to complete 12 90-day plans if you can't even complete one 90-day plan.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't mean to end on a sad note. But that's a call to action is what that is. Because you got to
Yeah.
got to discipline yourself and get your work ethic in check. You can have your mindset and your philosophy in check. And if you got that stuff in check, and now throw some other stuff on it that fuels that fire, like what we talked about last week, and that's vision. And what are the 3 main reasons why you're doing this business? You guys understand? What are the 3 things that are going to drive you to the promised land? Hopefully y'all, I told y'all last week, either during the call or after the call, to figure those things out. Get them down, because those are the things that are going to drive you. Those are going to be the things that keep you going, okay? And you will be able to complete your 90-day plan. And then after that 90-day plan, we'll parlay that into the next 90-day plan. And then the next 90-day plan marching towards Houston, Texas. You guys understand? Ooh. And not only will you be in Houston, Texas, if you get your 90-day plan, and if you get the philosophy right, and you stay locked into the 3 main things that are driving you, the reasons why you do this business in the first place, do it with passion and purpose every single day, 7 on 7, 30 on 30, 90 on 90. You guys understand?
Yep.
Yeah.
If you do that, you can show up in Houston, not by yourself walking till you see. You show up in Houston with 15 or 20 with you. Every single one of you. 15 or 20 people with you. It'll automatically happen if you're doing your 90-day plan. Mm-hmm. And if you have sense of urgency and vision and purpose and all that stuff that we talked about last week. You guys feel me?
Got it.
Okay? And that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. So listen, I'm going to let you guys go. So you can have a great Thanksgiving. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. Unbelievable.
Hey, Earl, baby, I see you all Earl.
Let's get it.
What's up, Earl?
What's up with you, baby? I love you, man. How you doing?
We can't hear you, but we know you're there.